Hey everyone, welcome back to the Saltwater Edge YouTube channel. Today I will be tying the Kinky Muddler, a pattern originally designed by Johnny King. There's some good YouTube videos out there of him doing it if you want to go back to the original guy. But today I'll be going over the pattern using a few different materials. I really like this platform because you can do a lot with the techniques we'll be tying today. You can switch up the colors, you can add a couple different materials to it and still get the same results. You can use it for small flies, bigger flies. I'll be talking a little bit about that as I tie. Right here I've got a herring color, a couple saddles in there, and then this sculpting flash fiber, which we'll be using a lot of today. One of my favorite materials right now. And when it comes to the versatility of the platform, this is a little bit what I was talking about, is this would be my little herring version there. This is a little eel pattern I did, so switched up the colors, made it a little bit sparser, trimmed it a little thinner, and then this I switched up the colors again and did a sardine. So you can do a lot. You can do peanut bunker, you can switch up the color really to whatever you want. You can have a lot of fun with it. Pretty easy to tie once you get the technique down. So yeah, we'll just get right into it. Today I'll be using the Mustad Heritage Tarpon streamer hook. This is a 2/0. You can adjust, again, the hook size to whatever you want to use. These are just what I've been using. It's the 2/0 Tarpon streamer Mustad Heritage fly hook. I'm using Danville Monocord. What else we got? I got the Sculpting flash fiber. The colors I'll be using today, let's see what they call these things. Peacock, a sea green, or just a lighter blue of any kind. We got a couple of them here at the shop. And then the natural color. You could also just use the white, or again, whatever color your little heart desires. We've got strung Chinese saddle hackle. You can use a cape if you wanted, just like medium length feathers on a cape. If you have a cape, that's fine. And then I'm going to be doing the herring one. So in there I've got just one pink saddle going through to add a little bit of that pink hue. So I've got a pink saddle as well. We've got really good saddles here right now. We've got the Joe Cordero flatwing saddles, and then we've got the Ewing flatwing saddles. Both are really great. You got a ton of good feathers on them. What else? The eyes, I'm using the 3D Super Pearl. This is the 1/4 inch size. I think that is all we got. And then a little bit of bucktail, white bucktail to start the base. We've got the 24/7 Lurecraft 365 bucktail on our website. It's if you just search Saltwater Edge bucktail, this should be the first one that pops up. The quality and consistency is really, really good. We've been really happy with it. So if you're blind ordering online, really recommend getting those bucktails. Yeah, we'll just get right into it now. All right, so I'm just gonna start my thread on the hook shank like you would any fly and work it just past the hook point there. I like to start kind of farther back. If you are new to tying videos with Kobe on the Saltwater Edge channel, it may be looking a little weird to you. It is because I am right-handed, but I tie lefty, so it's gonna look a little backwards. Hopefully we can move past that and you'll learn something useful in the video. Let's see, so next would be the bucktail. And just a little sparse pinch of bucktail, white bucktail hair for this one. About that much is pretty good. Pull out the little hairs out of there. And just place it on top of the shank there. Couple loose wraps so it doesn't spin around. Then I'm going to tighten it down. Just secure it down there. Work my thread to the back again. Make sure everything's straight, looking good. Now I'm going to grab my white saddle feathers here. I'm going to grab 2 of them. See if I can find 2 good ones here. I've been picking through this bunch for a while now. These are pretty good. A little twisted, but it's all right. We're just gonna go with it. I like to leave a little bit of fuzz on the feather, so I'm gonna go right to about where the stem starts to change from thick to thin, right about there. Cut that out of there. Do the same thing on the other feather. Cut that out of there. Now these are twisted, so ideally you would tent both of these. So instead of being flat on this way or flat on like a flat wing that way, I'm going to tie them a little higher so they're tilted towards each other like this, like a tent. But because they're twisted, it's going to be a little hard to do that perfectly, but we'll manage. Haas is having a good time over there if you're picking that up on the mic. Alrighty, so we've got it in about the position we want. Just secure that down. That fuzziness we left there too helps prevent the feather from spinning, which is nice. Then we're going to go to the other side, do the same thing. Again, these aren't perfectly tented, but we're using twisted feathers today. That's not too bad there. Just gonna get some more thread base down there. All right. So I've got my two white ones in there. Now I'm gonna take, we're gonna tie the herring color today. So I'm gonna take one pink saddle feather, about the same length, maybe a hair longer than those white ones we just put in. See if I can find a good one here. Looking good, pluck that one. Again, cutting where the stem transitions from thick to thin. Get that out of there. And then we're gonna tie this one flat over the top of the tents like that, sort of like a spine. Just like that. Alrighty, now you could add flash here if you wanted to. I'll throw a little in just because we're having fun today. I find I don't use too much flash in my flies. The Sculpting flash fiber we'll use in a minute has some flash mixed in. But there's nothing wrong with mixing in some flash on this step and just running it all the way back. So let's see if I can get a couple strands out of here. This is crystal flash in the gray ghost color. You can use, again, whatever color you want. There's no rules here. Just gonna tie those in along the back. Secure them down, clean up the tag ends. Work my thread all the way back. And we're gonna start the V-tying of the Sculpting flash fiber. So just for the visual overall here. On the herring one, I've got this lighter blue that transitions into the darker blue. Just trying to line it up here with the camera so you can see it. There we go. That should be in focus now. All right, we're rolling. And so I'm going to use a lighter blue, tie it in longer. This is going to be the longest section of Sculpting fiber we're going to use before we start trimming it away to form the body. So starting with a lighter blue, going to take a piece pretty long because we're V-tying, so we're sort of doubling it over. So you're going to lose about half of the length. So I'm going to choose a longish clump here, about that long. Cut that out of the package. And then I'm just going to taper it a little bit before I tie it in. We'll be trimming it a little anyway, but I'll just hold it loosely and then pull at the ends randomly. And that's just going to sort of stagger them out and taper them on each side now. You can kind of twist each end. So you've sort of got a nice taper there. And then V-tying, we're going to put one back like that. Sort of like tying on dumbbell eyes, I guess. Couple wraps that way, and then folding this back over that way. So it sort of looks like a V. Couple wraps securing that down. Now with these steps, all the sculpting flash fiber steps, it's going to start to look like a ugly ball of hair. That is okay. We're going to trim it all later and shape it to how we want. So don't worry too much about how it is looking at this point. You just want to be tying it in, focusing on your technique and focusing on how tightly you're packing it. If you do it too sparse and you go to trim it at the end, you'll see the gaps through it, which isn't, the fish aren't going to care, but if you want that nice full body, you just want to make sure you're using the right amount. So don't worry too much about how it is looking at this point. So we're going to go, we did the blue on the top, now we're going to go the belly color, and we're just going to keep alternating down the shank. Top color, belly color, top color, belly color. So this is the natural sculpting flash color. Again, you can use white or whatever pattern you feel like tying, whatever color you want to use. It's about the same length as that blue clump we just cut out. Gonna do the same thing. Taper it again, just kind of pulling at the fibers on the ends. That's good enough. V-tying on the belly. Couple wraps. And then I'm just going to advance my thread forward a little bit. Checking both sides, you don't want a gap to open up between these two, so I just give it a little flip, make sure we're covered both sides. If not, you can just grab a little clump and just pull it and move it to where you need it to be. If you have like a Zap-A-Gap or a really viscous glue, you can dab a little bit on each thread section just to make the fly more durable. And we are going to switch now to the darker top color, which is the peacock in this case. And now you don't need to use as much. We're going to trim a lot away later, so you don't have to use, this is going to give us the length and the taper, but now you don't have to use really long clumps. So using about that much, maybe a hook shank length and a half. And you don't have to taper this either because again, we're trimming it. So V-tied in that way, V-tied in the other way. Couple wraps. Make sure it's doing what we want it to. It's going to start to get that really bad haircut look, and that is fine. We're just going to roll with it. We will trim it all later. Clump of the belly color. Secure it down with a few wraps. Looking good. Advance the thread forward a little bit again, and then we're just going to repeat this process a few more times here. So top color, nice little clump. Then the belly color, again, nice little clump. secure it down, couple wraps, advance your thread forward, and repeat again. We're getting to the nose here. We'll see this might be the last tie-in of material here. We'll see how it looks. This is a great platform for medium-sized squid flies too. If you use a longer shank hook, you switch up the colors to a pink or a cream color or a white or whatever you want your squid to be. You can get that long mantle shape using this method and trimming it short. It can give you a really nice medium squid pattern. The possibilities are endless. We got pretty much all the colors you can get in this material. Alrighty, we're about on the nose there. I don't think I'm going to do another one. Might just end up crowding the eye of the hook if I did. So let's see where we're at. Give it a few spins. Make sure everything's where we want it. Looking pretty good. So I'm really going to secure that down. Advance my thread to the nose. Just try and clean it up a little bit. We'll be putting eyes and UV on there. Alright. That's all going to get covered in UV, so I'm just doing a couple half hitches before I trim my thread. Alright, thread is out of the way, so we've just got a bundle of hair here, and we're going to trim it. I'm going to end up taking it out of the vise in a sec to trim. I just find it easier, but hopefully you can see it pretty well right now. So before I do that, I'm just kind of pulling everything out so they are ready to be trimmed. You probably want long scissors. I think that's easiest, at least to start. When you sort of get to the finishing touches, you can use your small like razor scissors to get in there and get tight around the head. These are the EP scissors. They're nice and long. They cut synthetics really well. So just going to start getting in here, and we're just looking to taper it that way. So coming in from the back and going forward, I want to leave a little of this length, so I've kind of split it right there, and I'm just trimming. You can get pretty aggressive, and you can also get carried away. So we're going to try to not end up with a super thin profile like a sand eel or something, but you can get pretty close around the head. We're just angling it, or angling the scissors rather, and trimming it out, thinning this section down a little bit, tapering it down, rotating it in a vise, and we're just going to keep going as we sort of sculpt out the shape we want. This fiber, this material is just really, really nice to work with. It's really spongy. It's not something you'd want to use like as a bucktail substitute. Like it's not an SF blend. It's really spongy, so you can use it for crustacean shells. You can use it for sand flea flies, making crab shells, squid mantles, shrimp bodies, but it's not something you want to use like a bucktail substitute. All right, so now the vise is getting in my way a little bit, so I'm going to pop this out of the vise and start trimming away at the belly. But sort of the back taper is starting to come out a little bit there. And pinching it a little bit, getting those materials to flare so you can see where you need to trim. Sort of just, as you trim, it's going to start blending all the tips together. So if you see an area that looks like a bad haircut, you just kind of, like this there, you can kind of see the sections that I tied in. As I trim that, it's just all going to blend together. I'm probably doing a horrible job of keeping this in focus for you, but I'm trying. Get a little carried away with the scissors. So belly's looking a little fat still, so I'm going to come in here with the scissors, trimming that out a little bit. And just keep trimming. We are getting there. All right, I'm going to take out the razor scissors now and start working around the hook. Hook gets in your way a little bit, but it's when you bring out the smaller scissors, get in there. You can also tie this pattern with SF blend. It's going to be a little harder just because the material isn't as spongy. But I think that is what Johnny King initially tied this pattern with, was SF. I might be wrong. Alrighty, so we've got a pretty good shape going here. I might thin out this section, this longer section a little bit here, just to sort of free up the movement of the feathers. This material will hold a little bit more water, so we don't want it to sort of trap the feathers and limit the movement. So I'm just going to thin it out a hair here. You can also use this platform to make really nice eel flies, like big eel flies. You just use much longer feathers off the back, obviously a bigger hook, and then this will make a really nice eel body profile. So say about that long with your eel colors, and then really long saddles off the back. It can come out really nice as a big eel pattern. Alright, in just a sec here, I think I'm going to call this trimming good. I could go forever. We're going to call that good enough. We can always trim it more later. So we've got this nice minnow profile going on here. And all we have left to do is add the eyes. Get that back in the vise. All right, so those eyes again, they're the 3D super pearl color, whatever you want to use. This is the 1/4 inch size. I'm going to take my UV and just add just a drop on each side. I'm going to use it to sort of tack the eyes in place where I want them. So let's see where we want them. We don't want them right on the nose. Let's see, we got a little bit of a, you gotta love it when the backing comes off on the sticky part of the eye. Put those fingernails to use, there we go. All right. Let's see, I'll put the eye right about there. Sort of just behind that thread nose. Looks good right there. I think that is actually going to stick on just fine, so I'm not going to do a tacky UV first. Coat it in the UV later. Trim that nice and short on the nose, make a good little home for the eyeball to sit. Try and Got a big pet peeve of mine is making sure the eyes are lined up. It drives me crazy when I can't line them up well. So let's see if I can get that pretty good. Looks pretty good. All right, now coming with the UV. This is the medium viscosity UV. I use the thick a lot, trying out the medium today. There's the thin, sort of that like blue purpley bottle. I just don't find that dries super well. It's nice because you've got a lot of working time. It's not super thick, so you can work it around the fly nice. So I use that from time to time, but the medium will build a nice little head here and cover the eyes, keep them stuck on there. So I'm just gonna get some UV on there, work it around in a minute. Sort of give it a nice little helmet on the front here. Sort of going around the eyes so they stay on place. All right. A little messy. That's all right. Could trim this nose area, the fiber shorter, and you'll have a better base to accept the UV. We will take it though. So we're going to hit that with a light. Get that nice and dry. Very dry. All right. Gonna pop it out of the vise, give it one more look. Clean up a little bit of those straggling ends of hair there. And you could put this in your fly box, look at it tomorrow morning, realize you want to trim a little bit more. That is fine. That's a pretty good herring, small herring profile we got going there. So I'm just gonna call it good. Leave it like that. See a little long pieces of hair, so I'll clean those up. And there we go. That is my version of the herring colored Kinky Muddler pattern. Fishes really well. The bulky head causes it to dart around, longer tail. You get some nice movement in there, scared little baitfish. Ton of fun to tie. You can use whatever color you want. You can come up with a ton of different baitfish patterns. It's just a great baitfish platform to sort of riff off of. Thanks for following along. If you enjoyed the video, if you have any questions, put your comments down below. Subscribe to the channel. We've got lots of tying videos that will be coming out as we ramble along through the winter. Yeah, thanks for tuning in.